Happy Magnificent Monday, everyone. We are just getting started. Good morning, Candace. So happy to have you here. We are just getting rolling today. And of course, right when I start, there's a helicopter, airplane, or something outside. Hope you are all doing amazing and having a great day so far. I am coming to you from California. Those of you that follow me on social media saw that I came down to visit Melissa for the weekend, and so super excited to be here and have her beautiful Ellie painting in the background. And she is upstairs on her rooftop finishing the webinar that she was doing for Epic Love, and so we're kind of juggling spaces today, but everything is kind of kicking off for this magnificent Monday. And I am looking, there's Erin. There's Erin. And anyone who, as always, anyone who wants to come and join us on video, go ahead and raise your hand if you are joining us on the webinar. And I will click the little button that allows you to come on to video with us. And if you don't want to be on video, that's fine as well. But if you are part of the quote unquote panel, as Zoom calls it, go ahead and join us on video so that we can see your beautiful faces and have a fabulous conversation today. I am super excited about today's conversation. We are talking about one of my favorite topics, which is setting up your environment with intention and setting it up on purpose. And I'm noticing my lighting. I'm like being a big nerd now that Kendall's like taught me all of these things about video lighting and everything, and knowing that the lighting's coming in from the side, it's making me a little dark, but if I go this way, then it's too dark, but if I go this way, then it's too bright. So it's a mess, right?
So, you're fine. We can see. You're
good. What it is. You can see me. I'm not in the dark completely. It's all good. Thanks, Erin. And hi, Dirk. I'm so excited you made it this time. Dirk's got some interesting things going on in South Africa. And I know this has happened in the US before as well, in different cities. I remember it happening in Illinois for my sister when she lived there, where they have almost this like rolling blackout time to save on power. And so Dirk was going to have that challenge, but apparently not. And so he's here. So welcome, Dirk. I'm super excited you're here. And I also am just kind of finishing up in the background, so I apologize for being a couple minutes late. We've got a Young Entrepreneur Academy happening with Genius School Global, and we just kicked it off today. And so I'm facilitating two groups of seniors. Seniors makes them sound either old or like they're a senior in high school. But our senior group is 14 to 18-year-olds, and I've got two groups that I'm coaching for the next 4 weeks at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And so today was the kickoff day, and so many technical questions happening and all of that, but super excited for the kiddos that are going through that Young Entrepreneur Academy and really kind of flexing their entrepreneurial muscles and learning. We've got some kiddos as young as 9 that have joined the program in the junior groups, and there's a couple kids that already have their businesses that are absolutely phenomenal. Kind of feeling like I'm going to be the one in the room where I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? What is that? I don't understand. So they're going to be smarter than I am. So Pat, just verifying you are raising your hand because you want to come on video. I'm bringing you on video. Candace, you're joining us on video as well. So if you want to let us see your beautiful face, that would be amazing. So let's go ahead and kick things off today. Let's start with gratitude like we do all the time. Go ahead and type in the chat. And if you're on the webinar in the chat, go ahead and make sure that you are chatting to all panelists and attendees. And if you're watching us on Facebook, go ahead and type the comments into the chat on Facebook, and we'll be able to see those as well. So if you can, let me know what you are most grateful for about being in the world of education right now. So what are you most grateful for about being in the world of education right now? And I know a lot of it's a hot mess of crazy. So let's focus on the good stuff. Let's focus on what we do appreciate about being within the world of education today. I know you all have different roles, but go ahead and type If it's into the chat, make sure it says to all panelists and attendees. And those of you that are joining us on video, if you just want to go ahead and share out loud as well. Teresa has typed in working on Canvas curriculum and watching how education is changing to meet students' needs. Teresa, so well put, to really focus on that we really are changing the face of education right now, and we're watching it in real time. Like, this is such a historic time in education that we're watching this evolution happen. And yeah, Ruben, absolutely. There's so much of a difference of what we can do and what we can control. And Ward, really still being able to make a difference with your students. That's so powerful. Absolutely. Erin, what about you?
For me, it's the level of collaboration and commiseration as well, but the level of collaboration that I'm seeing, on Facebook and through, current colleagues and old colleagues of, okay, what are we going to do? What ideas do you have? Okay, that's great. Okay, now I'm going to add on to that. And it is changing and we have to change with it, but working together to kind of find the best way to be there for our students this year. It's been really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So to be able to kind of take this journey together, and I'm so grateful for this group of conscious educators who are working together, and we're coming together in this beautiful community, and I'm so impressed with how you all are showing up and the way that you're engaging with each other in our conscious ed circle and with each other on these calls and outside of these calls. This is what's going to create the momentum. You're all helping each other. Like, this is the beauty of what's happening right now, is knowing that we're not alone, right? Is that we all are on this steep learning curve that's sometimes redonkulous, and we're not alone. So we get to kind of roll through it and know that we're in this together. So today is all about the 6 senses of culture. And this is something that I've been teaching in the physical environment for, gosh, the last probably 8 years. And I'm super excited to have Erin as our special spotlight guest today, to be able to really share the work that she's doing and how she's pivoted to be an edupreneur and to actually use mindfulness as part of the 6 senses of culture. So it really connects into everything we're talking about today. So I'm just so excited. So Erin, do you want to share a little bit before we get started about your background and your journey to be where you are right now? Just kind of at a high level, maybe take a minute or two to kind of share.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I discovered mindfulness for myself several years ago at the encouragement of my husband. I talked in a different Magnificent Monday about the fellowship that I did with 30 other teachers in Tanzania. And it was amazing to be with a group of like-minded individuals. We loved education, travel, challenge, growth mindset. And through the talking with these people that we bonded so instantly, I found out that some of these people were using mindfulness in their classrooms. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's incredible. When I come back, I'm gonna start it. I didn't really know how I was going to start it. I'd read a couple articles, bought a book on Amazon, and I thought, okay, I'll start second quarter, once I know a little bit more. And that year was the second week of school, and something just clicked. I was like, no, these kids need it now. So I basically made it up as I went along for the first semester, ended up taking a course through Mindful School, which was incredible. Read all these books, all these articles, and just saw that this is what the kids needed. It wasn't this great program that I set up. I just kind of introduced it the way that I was introduced to it and showed the kids how powerful it could be. And then it kind of went from there. And, the first year I used it, the kids just told me how much this changed them and how much it affected them. So then the second year, I tweaked it, I modified it, I made it more of a structural program. And these kids loved it. They bought in fully. It changed them. It changed my classroom. I had no classroom management to speak of pretty much because of mindfulness and because they bought into this. I saw grades improve, behaviors improve. The culture of my classroom was calm and welcoming, and I think it's their work that they put into mindfulness that led to it. So I'm super passionate about bringing it into the classroom for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Thanks so much, Erin. And coming into your classroom, and I was so grateful to be invited into your physical space before the pandemic happened, and to be able to witness just the different energy of the kiddos from the hallway into your room. It's like they walk through this magic door almost. And it's all by setting up your environment with intention and letting them know the rules of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Life's a game. So why not set up the rules and let everyone know what the rules are? So when we've talked in the past on other Magnificent Mondays about your natural brain-wired strength, it's like living from that place and understanding that that's your game to play. And when you play that game, it's easy and life is fun. And you start to leverage other people's games that they're playing in order to have a well-rounded life. And so, Erin, I want to kind of talk about, let's kind of use that analogy of the magic door, right? And so I want everyone to think for a minute. If you were, and this is going to sound like I'm going off topic, and I promise I'm going to land the plane. It's going to be a little random for a minute. But if you were to think about planning a dinner party, you're going to plan a dinner party. I know we're not supposed to have parties right now, but let's dream. Okay? You're going to have a party, and you get to have whatever kind of party you want. So, what is that party? What's the theme of that party? Teresa, what's yours? Oh, you're on mute. For some reason, we can't hear you, Teresa.
Now, can you hear me?
There you are.
Oh, okay. My party theme. I guess it would be kind of celebrating individuals.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Everyone else, go ahead and type in the chat. What's your party theme? Pat, what's yours? I know you're going to type it in the chat as well.
What's mine? Probably friendship and just enjoying each other's company, celebrating each other's individualities.
Love it. And Tammy, you just typed in, and Tammy, make sure you're typing to all panelists and attendees.
Okay.
Superheroes and angels. That.
I have to. Those are my two go-tos.
We all just get an image of what that party is going to be like.
Oh, you know, I love superheroes and angels. I mean, I wrote 2 books, right? One is about that we're all little angels and we should all shine brightly like children in heaven do. And then again, to awaken our inner hero. I mean, imagine just the vision of that. And I am the head in the clouds, right? This utopiary world is the dream in my heart. So I had to go there.
I love it. I love it. So Erin, what would your party be?
I'm with Pat. I think friendship and togetherness and just making sure everybody's enjoying themselves and having a good time, whatever that looks like. You know, we all don't necessarily need to be around the table. If some people want to be in the pool or some people want to be around the fire pit, wherever they're the happiest and having the most fun and feeling the most relaxed in themselves, that's where I would want them to be.
I love it. And I see Christiana on Facebook type the movies. So Christiana, you're gonna have to think about like what kind of movies. Is it like old Westerns? Is it like black and white movies where it's like the silent movies, or is is it superhero movies? Is it dramatic movies? There's so many different themes, right? And so when we think about those things, we all conjure up images in our head. That's how the brain works, right? We all create a picture or a story around what that is going to be. So now let's think about what are the visual components. And I want you to go ahead and write this down for yourself and really think about, oh, I love Candace, Havana Nights Party. Candace, make sure you're typing to all panelists and attendees. So Candace is already going into detail for us. So this is where we're going. So let's think about all of our senses, right? So we've got the visual. What's the visual going to look like? What are things going to look like at your party? What are those things that are going to come up for you? What sounds are there going to be? What's everyone going to hear? What tastes are there going to be? What type of food is there going to be? Right? Oh my gosh. What's the, I was like, wait, my senses just left me. What are the tactile things? What are the kinesthetic things that are going to be present? What type of tablecloths might you have? Would you have a piñata? Would you have, would it be, Would you have Nerf guns? What type of kinesthetic activities would there be? And what's the other one? What's the other sense that we have? Oh my blanking.
Taste, smell.
No, thank you. I was like, oh my gosh. So, Kendall will tell you all that my nose like knows everything. It's terrible. I walk in, I'm like, the dog peed somewhere. Wait. Oh, it's after I had Hunter, it was like I got pregnancy nose and it never left me. So sense of smell. So what are they going to smell? What are those smells or candle smells or air freshener? Or is it going to be near the ocean where you're going to have the natural scents? Is it going to be in the forest and you're going to have a campfire? Or what are those different things that are going to happen? And then the sixth sense is, what do you want people to feel at your party? What do you want people to feel at your party? What do you want them to walk away? What are those memories? What are those sensations? What do you want that visceral experience to be? That sixth sense that we all have, you know, when we walk into a room and we know, ooh, there's a conversation that was happening right before I walked in the door that I maybe want to walk back out because I don't want to be involved. Or this is a party I really want to be a part of, and all I can do, you know, I just walked in and I feel the vibe and I'm ready to join in. So even just as I went through those fairly quickly, you came up with a really cool party that they want to share in 30 seconds or less what it's like, covering all their senses. Who wants to share? Erin, do you want to share yours?
I didn't think of them in terms of the party, but as you were talking, I thought of them as of how I set them up in my classroom. So I know my brain went maybe not where it should, but that's was like, okay, how do I do those things? Sorry. So I'll wait.
Let's stay on party for a minute. Right?
For me, party is the food has to be varied, so that everybody can like it. Like when we had a 4th of July party, we had a taco bar with different kinds of meats and different kinds of tacos so they could set it up. The visual was we have Sonos all around our room, so everything was together. So no matter what room you were in, outside, inside, it was the same. And we put on like very chill EDM music. Visual, we all, and then just going back to my 4th of July party, because that was the last one, we had the, like everybody had like hats or things that they could put on. And so we were all red, white, and blue. And for smell, I think it would probably be the pool because we were outside because that's the safest place to be. So we were outside. So the chlorine, I think, would be the smell, even though that might not be the best one.
Tacos as well.
There you go.
Right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Tammy, what about you? I saw you kind of going on in the chat. Do you want to share?
I'm in the Waldorf magical world. I want gnomes and fairies and angels, and I just want it to be fun and all natural and just beautiful and whimsical and honestly like children laughing and playing and it just be fun and free and wings and wands. I'm in that world.
Yeah, and what type of scents?
I love essential oils, so I love all those smells in the air, and I love beauty. Like I like it calm and peaceful too. Like I like serenity and trees and just water and nature and clouds, and so I don't like it too overstimulating. So I'm a very hypersensitive person, so I'm sensitive to sight and smell and taste and all those things. And honestly, healthy foods, like just colorful foods and just flavorful and like, just feel good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And Pat, I love what you typed into the chat. Fruit and freshly mowed grass and bright flowers and relaxing background music and barefoot in the grass. That sounds amazing, right?
Actually, I had a party here with 7 ladies in my backyard, and that's pretty much the way it was. And we all walked away after this whole pandemic isolation. We all walked away just feeling so good about being together, and it renewed our sense of positivity. We all walked away happy.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Love it. Really tapping into that sixth sense is so vital to really go, okay, how do we want them to walk away, right? So when I think about this weekend, and Melissa and I have talked, we've done girl beach weekends in the month of July for the last several years, and it usually ends up being around my birthday, so I get the bonus of having a girls' beach party. Obviously, during this pandemic, it's a little bit more challenging. And so I was able to drive down, and ahead of time, she thought through all of the details for me. She thought through all of the things that she wanted me to experience. And, I had a couple choices of different restaurants, or whether we eat at home, and whether we go down to the beach, or whether we sit on the rooftop. But really thinking through the experience that she wanted to create to really celebrate my birthday, even though we're in this pandemic. So every time we have an experience with someone, whether it's a party, whether it's just a small gathering, whether it's going to work, whether it's teaching our students, whether it's in person or whether it's virtual, it truly is about thinking through all of our six senses and what do we want the experience to be for those that we are connecting with. So when we think about it in a virtual world, there's a lot of things that we can do to set the stage. So when Kendall and I were doing the Nevada Association of School Administrators workshops between May and June, we thought through all of the different senses that we wanted them to experience as much as we could. Obviously, the sense of smell, we really don't have control over what their current environment smells like, but we do have the visual, and we have the auditory, and we have the sixth sense, and we can actually control some of the kinesthetic as well. So it's a matter of really walking people through, these are the rules of the game, and this is how I'm setting up the environment for you. So every time that we get together, even on these Magnificent Monday calls, you can be watching us live on Facebook, you can join in the webinar with us, you can come on video with us, you can type in the chat with us. Whatever makes you comfortable, we've thought through having every different option so that it really makes you feel like you're a part of this community, no matter who you're showing up as that day. So when you think about that for your students, and you think about that level of engagement, when you're thinking about this virtual environment, because no matter what happens and what shifts over the next school year, we're going to have some element of virtual and physical. Hopefully we lean more physical soon, but we may not. And so how do we actually create this environment in a virtual world? So I want Erin to go ahead and share what she created in her physical world and how she then translated that into the virtual world when she had her students last school year. And now what she's doing as she's beginning to launch her edupreneurial career and set up that environment for her tutoring as she's working with those students, and how she's teaching teachers how to do what she's done as well. So Erin, can you walk us through that story?
Yeah, so I'll start kind of how I did it last year. Obviously, it's going to be, different this year depending on where you are. I know here in Las Vegas, we're doing blended learning. So we will have the kids in the classroom for 2 days a week. So, some of this stuff will be possible. For me, and like you said, when you walked through my door, I wanted it to be like you were coming in on the other side of somewhere calm. So one thing that I would put up for visual would be there are these blue light covers, because that light in the classroom is so harsh and it's not calming in any way. So they're just magnetic, and they go up there, and it's supposed to, one, help with the light from the computer, and it's just supposed to give this like a blue calming effect. So that was one thing that I did. I also strung up lights all around my room, so that when we were meditating or when the kids were taking notes, or it was more of like a quiet thing, we would turn the lights off, but then we would turn the sparkle lights on. So it felt like more like a magical place to be, instead of just some boring classroom where I'm sitting there and taking notes or meditating. So that was definitely my visual. I'm with Tammy. I also used essential oils. I made sure that all of the kids liked them, because I do hear that some kids are sensitive. So we found 2 that everybody liked. So definitely would have essential oils on in the classroom. Meditation music in the background when we meditated, or when we came in, or when they were working on tests, we'd I'd put on classical music for them, although some of them were not happy with it, but science says that it helps, so that would be on there. So that was my here. And this was the first year I did it for the touch. I actually had a fidget corner for the kids, and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go off, and it went amazing. The kids loved it. So there were stuffed animals, there were fidget toys that didn't make a lot of noise, and they could check them out. And their rule was has to stay in their hand, must treat it with respect, you know, can't throw it around the room. And you have to be paying attention when you're using it. So a lot of the kids, you know, they might get a little distracted and say, hey, if you're using the fidget, you know, we need to be doing our work or paying attention. And they wanted to keep that fidget. So it was a good redirect for them. And the kids just really liked that they were allowed to fidget. They were allowed to be a little bit antsy, but let's put that antsy energy somewhere into a stuffed animal or into a fidget. So that was the first year I did it, and I loved it. And I would definitely do it again, for sure. And even when I go to tutoring, I will have fidgets for them. Or, you know, if the kids are on a long chat like this, encourage them to go have something in their hands or to get up and walk around. Or it's okay for them to have that outlet of that nervous energy, especially when we're in the virtual world and this is brand new. There's going to be a lot of nervous energy. So I would definitely encourage that to keep going. As for the visual, I actually just saved on Facebook. It was one of the teacher problems page. It was 23 amazing classrooms that teachers set up virtually that I've saved. And some of them probably cost $1,000. Some of them are super simple, but super amazing. So that's kind of where I'm at now, is setting up my classroom to not have this as my background, but have it more of a classroom setting there for the kids. So when they log in, it's not just another house they're seeing, but it looks and feels like as much of a classroom like it can if they were there in person.
Love it, love it, love it. And so when you had to pivot into the virtual environment, what did you do to keep your students engaged online?
It was definitely difficult, especially where I was. It took a while to get the kids the Chromebooks because many of my kids did not have access. One of the things that I really tried to do was do this once a week. We would have a Zoom call, and it didn't necessarily have to do with school. Now, sometimes it led there, but it was just, again, that sense of community that, hey, we're going to be here. We miss you. Let's find out how you're doing emotionally. And then I think that got them engaged. That got them a little bit more excited to log on to see what else I had to do educationally when they were logging on for fun. Even a couple times it was for an hour and I would log off and the kids would stay on and talk for another hour after I was gone. And so I think that pulled them in, that it was still, because I think especially in middle school, they missed their friends. They missed school, but they missed school because they missed their friends. So giving them the opportunity to just visit when it wasn't strictly educational, I think helped them be more motivated to log in when it was educational.
That's so huge. And as we think through this next wave of schooling, whatever that's going to look like, for everyone around the world, it's going to look a little different. And the key to remember is that these kids miss that human interaction. They're missing the socialization. For them, the education they're getting, for the majority of them, is a byproduct of hanging out with their friends. So almost honoring that, it's like getting everyone to be on the same page in any group that you're gathering, is to have everyone understand what the purpose is, but to not force anyone into, like, you have to do this before you actually just get to be seen as human. If we can understand that that sixth sense is the most important one, we can create that virtually. It's a matter of doing it with intention and a matter of setting up your environment. So Erin, having the opportunity to say, hey guys, we're going to have a social hour. We're just going to talk. We're just going to be humans with one another. It gives her students permission to feel safe with her, so then they will learn from her. We all know this intuitively. If we don't feel safe with another human being, we're not going to learn anything from them, much less listen to them. So if we're not creating that safe container by having music playing when they first come in, by making sure your background is well lit, it's by making sure that they can see you, making sure that you're situated within the camera so that you're not like this, and they're not seeing you, or that you're not like this, down at the bottom. Sorry, now I'm going to throw my computer. It's really making sure that you've got all of the elements in place to where you're setting the environment with intention. I can't say that enough. Set it up on purpose. Think through what you would want. think through what would set you up for success to learn if you were going back to school right now. Think about and ask your students, what would make you feel more comfortable at home? It's like maybe even take the first 10 minutes of class and say, everybody, make sure that you are sitting in the most comfortable, cozy place in your house. And if that's your bed, fabulous. Make sure you have a charger so your laptop doesn't die. Make sure, you know, whatever it is, everyone go get your favorite fidget object or your favorite stuffed animal or your favorite whatever, your favorite drink. Tammy's backwards. Everybody go get your first thing. So now you're creating, and Ward's saying I miss the socialization, is you're creating a social environment online. Everybody go, you know, take 30 seconds. I'm setting the timer now. The music will stop. You know, I'm going to play the music for 30 seconds. You'll hear the music stop when 30 seconds are over. Make sure you're back with your favorite fidget thing. Now you can set the rules of engagement for the classroom. Now you can say, hey, everybody, now this is what we're going to do. Here's the intention for today. Now that you have your favorite thing, make sure that it's not a distraction for you to actually hear and participate, because this is about everyone. I can't just be here on my own. I want to make sure that you guys are engaged with me, and we're going to be in this together. Design the team alliance. Make sure that you are designing the environment that you want for them with them. So asking them, what's everyone else's intention? What do you want to get out of this time that we're going to have virtually together? How can we flourish? What's going to make us flourish to meet all of those intentions? What if it gets difficult? What if one of us, you know, feels awful about something someone said, but we know that they didn't mean it? What do we want to do then? Most people will say, well, we want to speak up. Okay. In order for us to speak up, what do we need in order to feel safe to do so? We need to make sure that no one judges each other. Great, is everyone okay not judging? And that this is a safe place for us to all be humans because we're all learning this virtual stuff together? And everyone will nod or you know, you have them chime in the chat or whatever. Set up the environment by going through and establishing the rules of engagement on a social emotional level, not just on the level of this is what we have to accomplish, and you need to know your 3 times tables by the time we're done with this call. And because where our brains go, even if I just stop there and I say, you need to know your 3 times tables by the end of this call, where does everyone's brain go? What's the next thing that pops up in your head?
Stress, anxiety. Oh, what if I don't do it? Oh no.
Or else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you are setting the environment so it's saying, here's our intentions. What do you guys want to get out of today? And if they all go, we don't even want, what if they're grumpy? What if they go, we don't even want to be here. We didn't sleep good. I didn't this, I didn't that, right? You're going to have some of that. And say, okay, what do you need in order to feel comfortable? Because this is the hour that we get together, or this is the 2 hours we get together, whatever it is. So what do you need in order to feel happy and successful during this time? Do you need to go get a drink of water? Okay, everybody, 30 seconds, go get a drink of water, run. Allow for a little bit of that as you're getting into the virtual space. It's almost this opportunity where you're not in a classroom and you can't give them 30 seconds to run out in the hallways and be crazy and come back. You can do it virtually. So there are some advantages of what you can do for them. They can be sitting in a cozy environment. Side note, I 100% know that there are some students that are not safe in their homes. There are 100%, there are students that don't have those things, and that school is their safe place. And those are one-on-one conversations that you can have to say, hey, can we have a Zoom call? And you can go for a walk, whatever it is. There's different ideas that you can collaborate with your administrators and with your colleagues in order to take care of those students. So know that I'm talking in generalities from the perspective of connecting with all students. And I 100% know that there's outliers and there are exceptions. And we deal with those one-off. And Erin, I want you to speak to this a little bit too. The more you create the holistic container, what do you feel happens with the outliers?
That's a great question. I think for some of them, they grasp it really quickly and they look around and they see like, oh, everybody else is doing this, everybody else is trying it. All right, I might as well do it too. And then you have those who resist and resist. And, I had a couple kids who honestly, it took them until February, but eventually they got there. They did. They saw that everybody else around them was doing this and changing and that it was positively affecting. So I would just say, don't give up. It might take them, what was that, 5 months, 6 months, but man, and that was why March was such a bummer, because we finally got those kids. Everybody was invested. So just keep going. They will see the positive changes in their peers, in their classroom setting, and eventually they'll buy in.
Absolutely. I want to hear from some of the rest of you. What have you done that's worked really well in your physical and virtual environments when it comes to setting up that learning experience? Thinking about the 6 senses, what's worked really well? Pat, do you want to share?
Well, I'm not an educator, but as a parent and a grandparent, I just feel that the kids need to be as relaxed as possible, and doing this mindfulness process helps. But I think they need to be trustful and safe with their educator. Sorry, that's all I have currently.
Perfect. And Pat, I love your perspective as a parent and grandparent, is thinking through what is that learning environment that you're able to establish at home in order to support their teachers, and really knowing what you want them to receive from their teachers and being able to speak up and ask for that, I think is brilliant as well. To be able to nudge their teachers to say, hey, can you maybe play a little bit of music and give them a minute to get the fidgets out? Or can you maybe like even to share suggestions and say, I don't want to tell you how to do what you're doing, but I know that when I finally get my little ones, whether they're grandkids or kids, to sit still and actually do something, it's because I've checked off do they go to the bathroom? Do they have water? Do they have something to mess with, so that they can be listening. For me, I get into the zone the best when I have music playing in the background. If I have music going, and it's actually a little bit loud too. When I tune into it, I'm like, oh, that's probably loud. So sometimes I'll put in my earbuds and turn it a little bit loud, because I have to almost silence 101 million other thoughts that are traveling through my head at any given moment in order to focus. And call it adult ADD. I'm not fully diagnosed, but with my creator brain, my dynamo brain, where I can see it all, but then the details and the focus to actually get things done take a lot of intention for me. And so in order to get the world to slow down, I need to make sure that I have something else that distracts me. So Erin talking about the fidget thing is like, that would have probably been super helpful for me in school, but I didn't know that. So now what I do in order to create success for myself is to actually have some sort of music in the background. Because even if the house is quiet and no one else is there, and I'm trying to focus and get something done, I start swirling. I'm in email, I'm in project, I'm in this, I'm in that, I'm trying to do it all. Versus if I just turn music on, I am like beeline. It's like I give my brain something else to do, right? And Sylvia's saying that's exactly how she feels as well. I know that there's a lot of us like that. So if we honor that in our kiddos and help set up that environment, we almost, as educators, we need that information from their parents if we're not able to articulate it for ourselves, right?
And I think we are going to have to give grace to our students to find what that is in their home environment. Like you were saying, okay, today try your bed, see how that focus is. Okay, if your spot yesterday worked for you, great, go there again. If you felt yourself distracted, let's try a new place. And it's going to take them a while to figure out, where do I focus better and how do I focus better in this virtual classroom? Some of these kids don't even know how they do it in person. So we have to give them grace and give them choice and let them fail and figure out where works best for them. And then once they figure it out, great, stick with it. But it might take them a little while.
Absolutely. And Jamie is saying, I love using the breakout rooms to address specific needs and touch base with individuals or small groups. So vital to use those breakout rooms if you have access to them. I know that some educators are not able to use them, but even in Google Hangouts or to set up a special Hangout and touch base and make sure that they're just as humans. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we can do for anyone on the planet right now, especially our students, is to see them as human beings and to say, what do you need? I'm here to help you learn math or science or whatever it is. But first, I adore you as a human and I want to make sure you're okay. And they may feel a little awkward when you say that. They're like, what do you mean you let? Because it's not something we do as humans. But what if we did it more? What if we did see each other as people through that lens of creating the six senses of culture and creating that environment that sets them up for success? Because we wouldn't invite people to our party without thinking through what we wanted them to experience. So thinking through our classrooms with the same level of intensity and thoughtfulness and mindfulness and intentionality and living on purpose for our students, slowing down in order to go fast with them. Because once we slow down with them, then they will learn more quickly because they'll know we care. We all know that saying. Once they know we care, then they can learn from us. And it's more I mean,
And
oh, sorry, Erin.
kind of tying into the mindfulness, you know, a lot of teachers, when I tell them that, you know, I'm encouraging them to do this, they're like, but it's 3 to 5 minutes out of my 50 minutes. What do you mean? You want me to do this every single day? And what you just said, when they slow down and when they have that sense of peace and that sense of calm, I got those minutes back tenfold in so many ways. So yeah, those 3 to 5 minutes to calm down, they're not taking away. They're actually giving you more time in the end.
Which feels counterintuitive, but the science and the data, and I know you were tracking data as well with your students, it shows a tremendous give back of not only time, but attention from them, learning. Do you want to share a couple of the stats as you were kind of tracking data?
Oh, I'd have to pull them up.
Go ahead and pull them, just one that you remember as well.
I did do surveys for the kids. So at the beginning, you know, after the first couple weeks, and then I did it at semester. And one of the questions that I asked was at the beginning of the year was, should all teachers use mindfulness in their classroom? And I think maybe at this point we've been doing it 2 weeks and maybe like a third of the kids were like, sure. By the end, when I gave the survey in January, everybody except for 3 kids said, I want every single teacher to be using this in their classroom. So they bought in.
That's phenomenal. And they bought in because it works for them. Right?
It worked for them. It worked for our classroom. You know, they would say science might not have been their favorite class, but they enjoyed being in my room because of that calming effect that they had, because they knew that it was a safe place. And, you know, I think Runan said that they all need to feel comfortable with each other and in that space. And that's what the mindfulness practices kind of gave them, is this safe place.
And absolutely love it. Once they are able to express themselves and how they feel in that moment, then you can begin the lesson. And imagine if every educator on the planet did that. Just took 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning of whatever time you have with them. If every educator on the planet did that, how do you think that would shift student behavior? Right? Chaos.
I mean, it gives me chills to think of what that could look like, of the peace and the comfort and the acceptance that we would all have for each other and the understanding that we would have for each other.
It's so vital, especially during this pandemic, especially every day we have on this planet, that we actually just honor the humans that we are, and we think about the environment that we want to set up for those that we care about and that we care for. Because not only student behavior, but what about how much they can learn? Our brains don't learn when we're like this, right? We know that. When we're personally in stress or overwhelmed, I can't learn anything new. I can't hear, right? When I'm in stress or overwhelm, I'm busy, really busy in my head with all kinds of stories and all kinds of anxiety and all kinds of nervousness and all kinds of, like, it's a hot mess of crazy going on up here. Has anyone else ever felt that? Like, it hurts almost. Like, it's a hot mess of crazy when we're in stress or overwhelm. And when you think about the environments that kiddos are in right now, their world is uncertain and out of their control more than ever before. They don't even know what they can plan on. They think they're, in Clark County, they think they might be going back 2 days a week, but they also know that it might be all virtual if we go back to phase one like California's done, because California is now all virtual. So they know that that rug might get pulled out from under them, and they've been on this proverbial summer break where they're like, but I miss my friends. I've got some of my bonus kids that are ready and eager to go back to school, but yet we may not be able to provide that for them. And so how do we actually provide a study environment where it's health conscious and safe with some other parents, and how do we make those decisions? I mean, there's so many decisions that families are having to make right now. My sister did a phenomenal webinar on Saturday. And those of you that follow me on Facebook, go ahead and see, I shared it, and I'll share it in Educator Dynamics as well. I think I shared it on my personal page. I don't remember where I shared it, but she did this webinar, and it's from a school psychologist perspective on how to help you as parents make the decision of whether it's best to keep your kids in the online environment or send them back to school, and what that will look like. So she's coming at it from the Florida school system perspective, but it definitely is a holistic as families begin to make this decision. And so as educators, knowing that families are kind of wrought with this, hard decision and whole life philosophy shift, it's not easy. And then there's some families that really don't have a choice, that they almost have to have their kids go back because it's not safe for them to be, in the classroom or sorry, in the home environment. And then we have some parents that maybe don't have the relationship with their kids to be able to teach them at home. There's some parents that don't have the ability to stay home because they're an essential worker, or they're working from home and they don't have the capacity to do both. Maybe they don't know how to set up a learning environment for their kids. And so with what Erin's doing and setting up her mindful tutoring, she's helping families with that being nurturing. And I think it's a beautiful example of becoming an edupreneur, using what she found as her happy place and her place of success as a classroom teacher, and now translating it into, how can I actually serve? How can I make a difference? And seeing that it's families that need that support and kiddos that need that support. And if I can do it from a mindful place, because that's what I wish my loves, and I can tutor, I believe you're going to thrive, and it's going to be amazing to watch you. So I'm super excited for the journey that you're on, and really the gifts that you're able to share are going to be amazing. So thank you for being you and for being our special edupreneur guest today.
Yeah, thank you.
So I want to open it up in our last few minutes to the questions or comments about this topic. Setting up the environment with intention.
So Pat did email me, or privately, where could the webinar that you were watching, is that available for anybody to watch, about the parents choosing how to choose?
Yes.
And where can they get that?
So it was on my Facebook page. If I shared it to my Facebook, I will share it in the Educator Dynamics group. Or Stacey, if you're watching, if you want to share it in the Educator Dynamics Facebook page, then everyone can see it. It was her webinar that she did on Saturday.
Okay.
It was phenomenal, and based upon the demand, we may do another one, and I may bring her on to Magnificent Monday in order to do that as well. Mondays, because she's on the East Coast, are tough. She's usually with clients there. So yeah, I'll make sure that I drop that recording in to the Educator Dynamics Facebook page so you all can see it.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
I just want to say I love this conversation, and the work that you're doing, Erin, is key. It's pivotal. And if you really truly want to maximize learning, you need to create the environment where children do feel safe and calm and ready to learn. And some strategies that I do are exactly what you guys talk about, you know, the calm music, dimming the lights. You know, one strategy that I love and I can't live without is my bell.
100%.
Grounding them, right? Getting them to move from their head into their heart space, and just breathing and setting the tone. And how I open up is what masterclass. So I'm able to come in and do 50 minutes of excellence. So I go in and support the foundation of the teacher and give them that very quiet 50-minute mindfulness like you practice. And I say, what does masterclass look like, sound like, feel like, act like, think like, and smell like, right? So again, we're building this community and we're opening it up to all their senses. And they want, for that 15 minutes, I have children coming, Miss Valiers, I need masterclass. Like their little souls want it so bad. And we also know the rhythm, right? You know, school and life can be so hectic. They want that 50 minutes of downtime. They want that calm, you know, in the day. And we do things like we practice being listeners. We are all master teachers. We're all master students. Even in the gym, we quietly move. And when I start to speak to them, it's very quiet. And we just lower our voice. And it's just simple little strategies that just brings it from up here to down here. And you'll notice for 50 minutes, I have no behaviors, because those children just calm down, right? Their systems, their nervous systems, everything just calms right down. And the learning is remarkable, because when you're not stressed and strung out and you're not constantly putting out behaviors, and everybody's working together and co-creating and in harmony with one another, it is just the most beautiful and peaceful, magical little world. And children need it. They do not always want their senses stimulated like that. It's too much visually, mentally, emotionally, auditory. It's too much even for us. It's energetically, we're exhausted by the end of the day. And these little souls, they're used to being in sometimes families 1 or 2, and then they're around 33 children, and the noise and the stimulation and the senses, it's too much for them. So the work you're doing, Erin, honest to goodness, needs to be in every school and needs to be the key to building success and lifelong learners. So
Yeah,
thank you.
you too. Sounds like we're doing pretty much the exact same thing, which I love it because it needs to be everywhere.
And doing with the little ones is phenomenal. So just amazing. And Pat, I love your suggestion, and I was actually thinking about this while you were talking as well, is as educators, and Ruman was saying too, I wish we could listen to the parents and really hear what their students need. And you won't get 100% participation, but if you can get even just a handful to be able to hear from, it's a handful more students that you can really engage and connect on a really meaningful level with, is to be able to have a Zoom call and invite the parents in. Parent-teacher conferences are going to look very different. But for me as a parent, how great would it be to just be able to log on to Zoom and not have to try to figure out that I have to go at 6:30 or 8:30 at night, or I have to take away from work, or I have to juggle. I can just log in and have a 15-minute call with you, and we can, you know, talk about my child, and I can feel heard, and I can see the environment that you're setting them up in. And then I can help hold them accountable on my side to say, no, you know, I actually spoke to Miss Curtis, and I know what's expected. So come on, you'll be okay. And here's how Miss Curtis and I are now working together. And they might begrudge that a little bit. My son did every time I brought it. You talking to her, because we love you and you get to be loved. So, yeah, it's a great idea, Pat. Thank you.
Well, I think that would connect the child's family. The child would feel more a connection with school, that there's not just the teacher and the student. This is a whole family event, learning from home. You know, the parents are involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else? Any final comments before I wrap? Awesome. And Ruben,
I think I just want to jump on. I've been very quiet this whole time, clearly, and just absorbing all of this. But I think one of the things that I invite everyone to take away from this call, and I always say this, and you all know this, is you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So meaning that if you come into the virtual space a little chaotic, a little uneasy, a little frantic, a little panicky, it's no different than being in a face-to-face environment. You will create that environment virtually as well too. So as you shift into this virtual space, ask yourself, how do I want to step on, or how do I want to step into my calls or my classroom every day? And the beautiful thing is, in my perspective from this virtual world, is being in a virtual world, you get to create a different environment for yourself, first and foremost. And I'm a little backwards. I'm all about how are you treating yourself and taking care of yourself first before you show up in the world. So stepping into a virtual classroom, ask yourself, what's my environment like today? And how do I want to show up into my classroom today? And if you choose to be in a chaotic environment, you will create a chaotic environment. So choose to create different for yourself, because you all matter.
I love that. Can I just share one thing I use every day, and just that supports what Melissa just said, is I pick a card every day with my students, and they're my I am cards. And this one just came out, and it says, I am intelligent. I study to be the best me I can be. And so it's about starting with your powerful I am statement and really stepping into that and honoring every child. And like, exactly, you bring the storm or you bring the calm based on how you show up into the classroom. So this is my passion. I love the conversation. Thank you, ladies, for, you know, holding the space to share this and get this out into the world, because it's really, truly what our world needs right now. So amazing.
awesome. Thanks so much. And so as I kind of wrap up the call, I want to thank you guys so much for just bringing a rich conversation. Thank you, Erin, for being our special guest. I love the work that you're doing. I love spotlighting you. Next week, we're going to spotlight Miss Candace Morales, who is a friend of mine who I met through my women's co-working space down at Bloom in downtown Las Vegas. And she is a former educator turned entrepreneur. And so she's going to share her journey and really what made her make the leap, and then how she's kind of overcome some of the obstacles along the way, and just really inspiring story that she has. So we're going to spotlight her next week. And that will be our final Magnificent Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We are shifting the time because in the US, we are getting ready to start a new school year. And so I want to kind of get everyone to the new time rhythm. So starting in August, our Magnificent Mondays, we're going to take them down to 30 minutes, because while you are teaching, it's a little bit more challenging for you to give a full hour of your time. So we're going to give you as much value, but we're going to squeeze it into 30 minutes. And we're going to do that at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time every Monday. So 3:30 p.m. Pacific time every Monday, starting in August. Next Monday, the 27th of July, will still be at the 10 a.m. time. So just making sure. Next week, still 10 a.m., but the subsequent Magnificent Mondays will move to 3:30, and we're going to shrink them to a half an hour, because we know that starts encroaching upon dinner time all across the U.S. and various time zones across the world. I know will work and some won't, and hopefully you can watch the recording if it doesn't work in your time zone. And stay tuned for more good incentives that are coming down the pipe. I've been working with my marketing team in the background on the Educator to Edupreneur Masterclass program. If any of you have been kind of on the fence looking at that program, wanting to join us, wanting to really kick off your entrepreneurial journey, and it's really about your mindset. Let Melissa or I know if you want to have a one-on-one call. We've got some really cool marketing stuff that we're doing in the background that's going to kick off in August as well. But if you want kind of a sneak peek at some of the specials that we're offering, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to walk you through those details and really make it an experience that is really beneficial for you and matches what you need in your life as well. So I wish you all a beautiful, magnificent rest of your week. Let us know if you have any questions anytime, and we will see you all next Monday. Happy living your week on purpose. Love you all. Bye, everyone.